Welcome everybody to the L.U.M podcast. I'm Luke.
And I'm Mike.
Listen up, motherfucker.
Our microphones are nowhere near our mouths, by the way. Baby, come back.
You're familiar with Patti Gonia?
Patagonia, the brand, the owner being a psychopath, or Patagonia, the other
Drag queen.
Oh no, I'm not very well versed in the drag queen arena. My wife is, but I'm not.
All right,
I got other gay stuff to worry about, like conservative white men.
This is Patti Gonia. She is a drag queen and an environmental activist. And she did, I think last year, she raised a fuckload, I think it was $1 million for 8 charities by doing a hike, or like doing basically this in full drag. She did like the Appalachian Trail or like hiking something in full drag. And it might've been up like El Cap or something like that. It was crazy. She was doing some crazy stuff. And she's just a really beautiful personality, and she's all about getting outdoors and raising stuff. And she has begun to resell merch or repurpose merch out of Goodwills and things like that, so that instead of going into the landfill, she has a staff who will put prints on them that have to do with her and the movement. And of course, she's a trans drag, or I'm sorry, she is a drag queen. So she is. All of these shirts are really, really witty and funny
and flamboyant,
and original. Original because
like mine.
Yeah.
First of all,
well, mine's not. I'm not a fashionista.
First of all, I'm a delight.
I love the fact that she's out there doing the nature thing. I myself am an indoor cat and a cave bear, so I'm not that interested. But it's important to me to have the environment protected. Here I'm seeing she's got she's doing an image where she is literally a tent. She almost looks like a landing craft. That's really funny. And again, promoting the outdoors, almost a la Teddy Roosevelt. Get out there in the national parks and all this stuff, especially considering that the maggots and the conservatives are trying to claw that stuff away so that they can exploit it and further ruin it. However, her situation is this: because she is making money from the merch to go to charities, Patagonia, the brand, and remember, Patagonia is a region. It is not a brand name. Patagonia, the retailer, is suing Patti Gonia for $1 because of the merch and their name. And I believe they're doing this just to bury her in $1 million worth of legal fees. Now, at the beginning of Pride Month, I believe they offered some sort of deal that is likely not going to be super acceptable. However, we'll see if Patagonia does the right thing by Patti Gonia, because Patagonia has a lot more to lose than Patti Gonia, especially given the goodwill, the social media space, PR. The people seem to be with her in particular.
They are wealthy white people who want to pretend they're economically, I want to say positive. They want to pretend like they're thinking about the environment. They're trying to be positive people. So to shame them into being able to see that the brand they want to represent is going after a person who is actually living those values.
Exactly.
Is a great way to turn the tide on a very frivolous lawsuit. It's almost, the way you make it sound is very similar from the sense. I mean, do we know that they're doing it to be dicks? If it's for $1, it's because it could be the same situation as, say, like Marvin Gaye, his family had to sue Ed Sheeran, not because they wanted to, but because they had to.
Oh, alongside attorney's fees. Patagonia's suit is seeking $1 in damages alongside attorney's fees, primarily asking the court to prevent Wiley, who is Patti Gonia, from selling overlapping merchandise and securing the trademark. Patagonia maintains this action is a necessary measure to protect its trademark assets from being diluted. You are trying to trademark a fucking region of the earth, you dumb shits. What are you talking about? You're never going to win this. This is only going to make you look bad. And the liberals who buy from you and the progressives who buy from you are going to, well, stop. most likely. But
I think it's a word. I think it's just more like a word fight. Because I mean,
there's not a word fight because they want
like I can't.
She has to pay to fight the suit.
I can't.
And if she loses, she has to pay all of their lawyers' fees.
Well, no,
it's gonna be millions and millions.
No. What they're specifying though is that like the same thing. Like if I was to make a vehicle, right, and then name it the Rubicon, I would have Jeep suing me, even though the Rubicon is an area of land, because they have the rights to the name of a vehicle being the Rubicon.
I think it'd be different. It might be more along the lines of if you became a drag performer named Ruby Con, RUBIIECONN, and you started taking merch that says Ruby Con on it and selling it to contributed charities, and then GMC sues you for trademark violations over the Rubicon.
It's Dodge, but I'm not digressing that. What I'm saying is, Dodge. Dodge and Chrysler own Jeep.
Oh yeah, so that's
but it's
Stellantis,
Fiat, or the Fiat.
Oh, Fiat. Okay.
Yeah. No, but no. What I'm saying is, not that I'm saying I'm pro this. I'm just trying to look at it from what they're attacking. What is the name of her organization that is repurposing the clothes? Is it under her name?
I think it is.
Because if it's under her name, it's the same kind of fight that you see in regards to a company that has a very similar name, but different spelling.
A lot of the merch is like this.
And a lot that would, if that was Patagonia, with the way they have their symbol, it looks very similar.
But you can see, like, for example, this one is they're like screen printing on top of existing shirts.
Oh, no. I can understand that completely. I'm just saying that the way that it's presented, you can go too far into a parody if you're doing it as a business venture to then draw the ire of the person you're trying to take from. I feel like what they're trying to have, if I'm looking at it from the perspective of the company Patagonia, I'm not saying what they're doing is necessarily good, but they're looking at it from enough of this is already from their perspective reflective off of their own brand. And so how much of this is done out of parody while still in a way implementing their brand as being tied to what's happening, which is dumb, because if I was in Patagonia shoes and I saw what this person was doing, unless we find out they're secretly funded by a bunch of uptight pseudo hiker intellectual idiots, I would have embraced it and then tried to do a partnership versus Barry. But in this situation, I guess the question falls into how much of what she's doing or they are doing is directly tying herself to their brand through the prints.
I'm looking at an NBC News article because this has gotten big enough to where it's reached me, a 44-year-old dude. Closest I ever came to someone in drag was I did a play once with Trix and Mattel back when they were in college.
I've been to multiple drag shows, and
couple.
And my one of my closest friends in college, who I haven't seen in a very long time, who lives in Minnesota right now, he was a gay gentleman who performed in leather competitions, and he did really well. And a lot of those are tied part and parcel with drag shows. They do like them kind of intermingly.
Yeah, Patti Gonia is saying that the company alleged that she moved away from discreet use of a persona to engage in activism. So they're attempting to silence her activism.
So that's a different thing.
And they're using it under the auspice of a trademark dispute, which is slimy and corporate and stupid, because
her actions are going from being a nuanced character in the background to somebody who's starting to have actual political sway, and Patagonia doesn't want to have that possibly attached to them. And the only way that they can get away from it is by attacking her legally.
In the end, I had two choices.
In the end,
the erasure of my name, my advocacy, my community, and everyone I employ, or two, fight for myself and fight for us, the drag queen wrote. Fight, girl. Fight and win. Go fucking fight, fucking win. We got you.
Her name's far enough. She should be able to win on the grounds that her name's different. Patagonia is going to probably just have her change the initial styles that she's putting on some of the patterns.
Maybe. I have a feeling that they're just going to make it go away because they're trying to bully somebody into submission, into a corner that they are more comfortable with. And this motherfucker's not going to get bullied. I mean, I've seen her like climbing up El Cap. They put a trans flag on like El Cap or on Yosemite, something.
Yosemite?
It was something. Oh. It was, and actually that person got fired because they wrote a rule 2 days later to retroactively make what they did against the policy, because they did it on their own time. They did it on their own dime. The thing wasn't any bigger. The flag wasn't any bigger than any other flags that were there. It was just the trans flag. And that's my thing, man. Because this is Pride Month. Let me just give a little background. I was a weird kid all through high school, and I found my home in theater. I did my undergrad in Boston at Boston University's School for the Arts, it was called, and now it's called College of Fine Arts. And I graduated with a BFA. And it was really cliquey there too, and it was really rough. But you did meet a lot of gay folks. You had drag shows. My first roommate in college might as well have been a Southern belle. And you learn to live with them. You learn about their culture, not just as a gay man, but like, dude was from Jacksonville. I never had grits before. He made me instant grits and turned it into an unbirthday party with sweet tea. And he was the most joyous dude ever. And we didn't really get along all that well. I mean, I was a Northern Yankee, whatever, but like just really, really sweet person, really, really interesting folks and real people. And I became a lot more protective of gay folks and LGBTQ folks through my time in Boston, and through my time watching and hearing people use the F slur a lot and watching how it hurt people. And I've been called a bully in my life, but I like to fancy myself a bully of bullies. If you're going to fuck around with somebody else, you're going to get me in your face. And just because you're done having me in your face doesn't mean I'm going to get out of your face when you're fucking with people who are marginalized communities. My question is this. A lot of people on debate shows and on the media and on TV, they talk about the pronouns. I'm not going to use your pronouns. You're making me use it. They're asking you. It's 9 words. He, him, his, she, her, hers, they, them, theirs. It's 9 fucking words, and we already know them. How many dollars does it cost you to not be an asshole and to help somebody feel like part of the goddamn team? Have you no humility that you can't say, oh, my bad? You don't want to be called sir? Madam, it is. Or how can I address you to make you feel comfortable in this restaurant? How can I address you that makes you feel like I see you for who you are and I'm making the barest minimum gesture to accommodate you and to welcome you into a neutral interaction with someone who wants to honor you and be in a real interaction here? It really boggles my mind why people are attempting to pervert biology to bully people who are like a fraction of a percent of our population.
Oh, from my perspective, it's much easier to understand when you look at the willingness of people to weaponize victimhood in regards to power dynamics. So if you have enough people who are convinced that they're being inconvenienced by an undue force, they will make extraordinary effort to rectify it. And for a lot of these people, they're already in an in-group. They're already the perceived winners. I mean, let's be realistic. Louis C.K. said this a long time ago. People want to talk about people being worried about Christianity or Muslims or Judaism or whatever. Christianity won. Christianity won because we're how many days removed from when Jesus was born or killed, right? Mm-hmm. How many years removed? All these things is just when you have
2029, is it?
But we're in a position where that's the standard that they have set, and we go fast forward through all the bullshit. Because I'm using this as just a rough example. the people who are Christian in America can't be acceptant of other people in a group because they're already Christian. They're already back here. They have their protectors, and they're more willing to use that righteous indignation to attack the others, no matter what they're from. Because I can remember before black people could marry white people, that it was against God's will that black people were able to marry white people. And it was against God's will that men would be able to marry men. It was against God's will until they got to watch Pornhub and watch two women make out, that women could marry women. There's weird, I don't know why that's connected. I do, but I'm just trying to make the joke on that because it's about the main in-group never being willing, especially from a larger structure, on giving ground that there could be acceptance of different people and be tolerant of them.
Yes. And I remember I'm going to make an admission here. I used to watch Joe Rogan's podcast years ago.
You're a red-blooded human with mistakes?
No, I wanted,
get the torches, people.
I liked him when he was interviewing people like Brian Cox and Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and when he was doing stand-up stuff. I mean, I liked watching Dave Chappelle. I liked watching Bert Kreischer talk about, when Ari Shaffir spiked his shit with Molly in his own home before a podcast. But there was a time when Joe Rogan mentioned, he said, if you're not willing to X, if you're not willing to Y, if you're not willing to help these people, to love these people, to do the things that they need of us to feel comfortable, whatever, fuck you, you're an asshole, you're not part of the team. Now he's got a comedy center called The Mothership in Texas.
None of us are part of the team.
And it's okay. I'm going to do my trans joke now. And now I'm going to say the word retard X number of times, et cetera, et cetera. What the fuck happened, Joe?
Because you're able to bring America back. America's back.
What happened? I mean, it became a conversation, and then it became accusing people of pushing a narrative, which in turn, you could be confused as pushing a narrative as well. And then the COVID shit. And it just kind of spiraled. I really don't get it. I thought he was a smarter, dumb guy than that.
I remember,
and I'm disappointed because he had the potential to be a force for good, and he's completely gone full Sith.
I remember when he used to talk to people like I forget their name, but he used to talk to people like Dr. Matthew Shepard, I believe. He was a gentleman from UCLA who talked about sleep studies and helping people be able to get better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he would talk to left wing and right wing people. He would have Kyle Kalinske on.
He would have Daryl Hall on.
Yeah, Daryl Hall, but Daryl Hall made a weird turn though. I don't want to get caught up on Daryl Hall. He made a really weird turn because he started becoming very anti the left because he said that they were attacking him. Maybe the thing he was saying was very weird.
Daryl Hall, for the positive that he did, he's probably responsible for declanning more and helping more people deprogram from the Klan than anybody else, and he's got an entire closet full of robes that were given to him. He got to leave the Klan because the left is attacking him. The left definitely has a problem with attacking people on their side and driving them away. I think that may have happened. I don't know if that happened with Candace Owens or not, but if he's on the wrong side, he's on the wrong side. I don't give a fuck.
The problem with him is essentially that, from what I remember from the first conversation to the second conversation that they had, because there was two. The first one was about getting the Klan to derobe and his journey throughout that process and all the things he had to go through.
Powerful episode.
But when you listen to how he's talking about it the second time, he can get you to stop being a member of the organization. But nothing he did stopped them from being on that side politically.
So they're still racist.
They're still willing to accept bad politic and selfish politic. They just don't hate black people openly or hate on Jews openly. Is
he being fitting the archetype of the exceptional Negro?
Possibly.
The idea of the exceptional Negro is that they're one of the good ones. I was oftentimes throughout my mixed race upbringing, a bit of an exceptional Negro. I was polite. I speak the same language. I know the different kinds of tater salads. I traveled and lived in white circles, and I feel that I was accepted to a point, but then I became hip to some things. When I was in college, I was in a relationship with a white woman, beautiful ginger, and people went up to her and told her, I hope this is a fad. I hope this is a phase. I would never date a black man because I was raised better," and they called her disgusting. There were others in high school, man. And so if you have a problem with the lovings, then you get a problem with my existence. And then I naturally have a problem with you. And that's one of the things that the right is moving towards. That's one of the things that they are talking about. The fact that they don't believe that interracial relationships and interracial children should exist.
Well, the mechanism behind the ability for people to be able to have a perceived level of privacy, like the general concept of us being able to have a privacy in regards to our interactions with the government, is one of the cornerstone things they removed when they attacked Roe v. Wade, because they removed that privacy of the woman in regards to her body's autonomy. That mechanism that they attacked, and I just got done editing one of our episodes, and we talk about Clarence Thomas being one of the main people spearheading that mechanism.
Fuck you forever.
In regards to legal standing, is the thing that allows for same-sex marriage to exist, interracial marriage to exist. And Clarence Thomas, because he, like Jay-Z said, you're still up to them.
It doesn't matter how many mobile homes they give you.
Doesn't matter.
You're still just a good boy.
He thinks that he can tell the other justices to only go after the things that involve same-sex marriage and involve these other things that he wants to attack once that mechanism was removed from Roe, but doesn't think for a second that these people, when he's either dead or when he's not paying attention, are gonna gotcha bitch the moment back at him and get rid of the ability for people to be interracially married, which means that him and his wife can't even be together.
He'll be dead of
he doesn't
heart
care.
Attack or whatever.
He doesn't even love his wife. He's too busy sucking on that crow. You know, it's like, what?
He's not wrong, but we
also real quick
moved from LGBTQ.
I just want to say it makes 100% sense to me. This makes 100% sense to me that you graduated. You became so well loved and known amongst the LGBTQ community within your school because you graduated with a BFA, a big fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of shit we like to see, because y'all want to understand how much attention I pay to what this man says. I've been stuck on that goddamn acronym for the past 25 minutes, sitting here watching. I'm like, he's ranting. I gotta get this big fucking ass joke out. God damn it, it's burning a hole in my brain. And just for clarification, by the way, okay, my story isn't all that different, except if I'm going to be honest with you, in a lot of ways, the story of like my life and like regards to say like Luke's life, right? We are probably as close to like the opposite side of the same coin as you could possibly be. I'm a white kid who grew up excessively poor in a predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhood. I can give you pictures of myself in 5th and 6th grade. And I'm one of 2 white kids in my school. Reason behind that is because the state of Indiana, where I was born, they were required by law to specify that a certain percentage of white Blacks would be in a school, but Latinos were not designated as non-white Latinos at that point. So the state of Indiana just shoved all the Hispanics into one school. And I was surrounded by places called Little Mexico most of my life. Now, I grew up poor. My mom, my grandfather and her family were all well off and middle class, but she decided to run away and, do all these things that led to me existing. I'm a fucking accident, if I'm being honest. She didn't even want, she didn't even want me. And my dad was an alcoholic and a drug user. So like, I'm a survivor of like this really shitty background. But then go forward, I got moved to Wisconsin when I'm like 15, 16, growing up extremely poor. I've had friends die in elementary school to drive-bys and murder. And I come to Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is a city south of Milwaukee, about 40 minutes. And the worst crime in that freaking city was, worst crime in that area. Somebody stole a fire hydrant. And I go to
Racine's bad. Sorry,
Racine's bad. Kenosha's friggin' squeaky clean.
Yeah, Kenosha's real nice. Right by the lake.
Yeah, Kenosha, I get there, squeaky clean. I get put in this really nice school that's way better than the school I was in. And then the only people I could even get along with remotely were all Black and Hispanic kids. I couldn't.
Those are your peoples from where you grew up.
I'm talking. I'm in a school predominantly white. All the white kids are shitting on me, talking crap. I get in fights all the time. And the only people who help me out were the Black and Hispanic people in the school. So then I go off to the military to escape. And every person that I ever trained under in the military that saw potential in me as an individual was either a Black chief petty officer or a Black first class petty officer. And those guys took me under their wings and raised me up, because people don't know this, but in the military, Navy has the highest percentage of Black servant people in there, as well as Filipino and Mexican.
Most in the Navy?
The most Black people are in the Navy than any other branch, and Filipino is mostly in the Navy. But Hispanics dominate the Marines. The Marines are mostly Hispanic, and the Army and Air Force are mostly white. There's like a bleed over, but there's the highest percentage of Black people are in the Navy.
Very contrasting personalities.
Yeah. And so I get out of there. I go my duty stations in Japan. I lived there for 3.5 years on 2 separate destroyers. I traveled to 15 different countries during that time frame. I get to see the world that I would have been deprived if I stayed in fucking northern Indiana.
Or do you feel like that recalibrated your political true north?
Well, it
definitely did for me. When I was in, I did a semester abroad, traveled a lot, and I feel like it gave me more of a global perspective on what true moderate politics are, what true left, what true right was.
The thing that I entered into it with, because I know you were talking about you were considered a bad guy. From the moment I left,
bad guy for what?
Like when you were saying earlier, some people will call you a bad guy.
Oh, like a bully?
Yeah, a bully, a bad guy.
Oh yeah, no, I won't stop with a conversation. You can tap out, but if you're still not listening to me, I'm going to keep going.
The thing that
people get pissed off.
The thing I had a problem with more was when I moved from Indiana to Wisconsin. This was about middle school to high school. I went from having people that could accept me, like I had to go through some shit. I had like some of the kids in my school, mostly like the basketball players, hated my guts. I would be chased home. I used to be a very accomplished long distance runner because I had to run home from school because I would be chased home. Some days from elementary to middle, and that was like a mile plus. I'd run, but I don't hold a grudge because I know as I've lived my life that they got shit on culturally. I lived in it with them. What reason do I have to hate people that I was like around my whole life and could see the problems? Because fun fact for people, not all of them are assholes, because my neighbor next door, Mrs. Keys, and her family, Mrs. Keys taught me how to fight. A Black woman with a farm basically was standing in a field with me, showing me how to hit people with a bow staff to get them the fuck away from me. And her sons, when anything ever would happen to me and my mom, would sit on their front porch and watch our house. I was taught to read by a Black woman. I was taught to do multiple things in my life by Black women who treated me as not like some random piece of shit, but as like a member of their community and helped lift me up. I was doing things that the other kids in the neighborhood were just, getting left behind from, because I was willing to take the wisdom that I was being given openly, freely. And I've seen that. The thing that's crazy, I see those things. I grew up with a drug dealer across the street from my house. The drug dealer was the local drug dealer. He wasn't like some like no name motherfucker. His house was the nicest house in the whole neighborhood. He had multiple pit bulls. I knew those pit bulls never bark at me ever. Everyone else walked by, those dogs were crazy. Every time they saw me, as soon as they recognized my voice, they chilled out and they started wagging their tails. Happiest dogs on the planet. And he would have every fight at his house. Tyson versus Name the Individual fight at his house. He'd pay for the pay-per-view. He would invite people over and he would give them food. Mrs. Keys' daughter, I can remember this very vividly. Mrs. Keys' daughter was the first person in their family to have graduated college in their entire family's history. And these people had been there for years. They had the biggest house in the neighborhood. And the drug dealer was the person who threw the block party for her. He pulled his money. Nobody else had the money. He pulled it together. He pulled connections he had with local police, and he got the city to have a block party on very short notice. and held it. And we all celebrated this girl getting out of the hood. Everyone there knew that we were a part of a community. They all came together. The people across the street from me were from a white family from Alabama that talked with a southern drawl, that talked like this all the time. Michael, come over here, Michael. Just help me pick this banjo real quick. Wait a minute. I'd go over there with them. But then they got along just as well with all the black people in the neighborhood as I did. And so when we go into, I already entered into the world understanding the economic and socioeconomic problem. But then I go to white suburbia and I never felt more alone. Never. I went out to white suburbia and I barely knew any of my neighbors. I didn't understand why these people thought certain things were problems. The problems they were developing. I mean, I got a rock thrown at me and plugged me right in the face from a black kid in my old neighborhood because his big brother told him that you're only a man if you beat the fuck out of a white person. And I went to him and said, hey, we can't do this, man. Like, this is wrong. We're sitting in the back of a cop car. I'm defending him from being taken away because in my head, I'm like, the only way I can win this fight is empathy. I can't win this fight by being a dick. I can't win this fight by treating him like a piece of shit. And he started being much nicer to me after that day.
I suppose
but then
you let people throw rocks at you. I don't know.
I didn't. He caught me off guard. He surprised me.
That's it.
Because his brother told him to do some shit, and everybody's brother told him to do some shit. I got into a big fight with a fucking Polish kid because he wanted to try talking some shit about my mom. I whooped the fuck out of him. But then his brother, who I'm like fucking like 12, I think, or 11, and his brother comes in who's like 18 and just beats the shit out of me for beating his little brother up.
18-year-old getting involved, that's fucked up.
Here's the crazy part. I remember this happening. His best friend was my childhood best friend's older brother, and they stopped being friends over this fight because my mom thought we were playing because it was at night. It was like that dusk period where it's like really hard to see what's going on. And he's holding me down, punching me in the back. And my mom's walking by thinking we're playing. And I had to explain to her later, blood coming out of my head, crying that this kid did this to me. Here's the crazy part, right? When given the opportunity to do the right thing, he apologized to me later. But the whole reason he got mad at me and was talking shit was because I had gone into his house and saw that his parents had him living in a goddamn box full of rags. And I talked to people at the school and we did a fundraiser and got him an actual bed. And he felt ashamed for having the bed. He felt ashamed for getting that bed. So he took it out on me. I go out to Wisconsin. I'm around people in the suburbs who treat me like I'm an anomaly. The only people who could understand me. I've been told by our friend DeAndre when I talk about trying to be more involved in politics, real recognizes real. So when I go to Wisconsin, the only people who recognize me as real were the black and Hispanic people in my school. And we're in a white dominated school. So that's like fucking 7 people. And all we did every fucking lunch was sit around a table, play poker or in blackjack all day. Whenever we had lunch, we sit around playing blackjack. And nobody in that school fucked me once those people accepted me. But we're in a predominantly white school. So all the parties I was never invited to, all these things were happening, was never invited to. I became hyper isolated when I got home because none of my friends lived near me. They all lived in the inner city and I lived out in the suburb. So fast forward, I'm out in the Navy. I don't want to fucking talk to nobody. I don't care about y'all. Don't care about y'all. Because when you talked about pride and team membership stuff, I didn't have that. I couldn't. I'm going to argue, hey, I've lived Northern Indiana. Oh, so you're just a country boy. You're just a piece of shit. Says the guy from Texas. Or you don't know what real life is. You don't understand what real hard life is. You say you grew up around a lot of black people in Indiana. How's that even possible? I'm from California, but he's from like San Francisco. He's not from LA.
Right.
So I had that problem the whole time. So I didn't want to talk to nobody, but the only people who saw the value in me were my NCOs, black NCOs, black officers, because they saw me working with them fair and true. I go travel the world and I see the injustice. The thing that's crazy is that's when I realized that where I was the crime. Where I was physically was the crime. I'm a sailor across the entire rest of the world, and I can't explain for the life of me why I'm on a pier in Bahrain getting ready to go get deployed to go watch oil terminals for Iraq. Why? I thought we were at war with them. Why am I saving an oil terminal from being destroyed by the Iraqis in Iraq?
Mm.
That doesn't make a lick of sense. If I'm at war with a country, why am I protecting their infrastructure from them?
Because we want to take it over and we want to run it. The war has to be paid for. The shit's got to.
And that's the whole point. They were taking that money.
No, that's what's going on right now.
And we
have a war in Iran where we took over Venezuela's oil. They're actually selling it on their own, but then we completely destabilized the path through which 20% of the world's energy goes. And once again, we're in deep shit. And again, it is a weekly or a bi-weekly good news, bad news scenario that becomes predictable enough with enough information that people can play the stock market and profit by it.
The crimes I saw conducted by the military that will never be talked about because there is no way to hold anyone accountable, and the plausible deniability is so high that anything I said can be conjecture as far as they're concerned, because the burden of proof has to rely on me as a 20-year-old sailor maintaining a record of what I saw. But I'll tell you this, the worst things I've ever seen outside of a war zone were because of extreme poverty. And I saw that in Mumbai, India. I watched a lady who basically, the concept of like the crowd approaching the wealthy foreigner to try to get money from them or try to like gain access to them. I had that happen, but they weren't asked. She wasn't asking me for money for like just money. She was trying to sell me something. And the thing I can remember this, I have PTSD from this moment. She tried to ask me to buy the corpse of her dead child. She wanted $20 American.
Jesus Christ.
All I remember is that my friend saw this interaction happening. I'm in the back of a taxi because we're trying to get away, and he rolls my window up, and I'm just stuck. I was just stuck there with her holding this bundle of cloth, lifting it up, taking the cloth off, and me seeing basically a corpse. She threw it away. We drove away and she threw it away. And we drove by much later. I'm sitting there. I have very good spatial recognition, so I never get lost. And we're sitting in the back of the car, of the vehicle. This whole trip to India, by the way, this one night is like a story on its own. But we're driving back to the ship to get there before Liberty is over. And I remember this. And I remembered the building, and I looked over, and then the gutter where this lady threw the body was a bunch of dogs. I could only assume what's happening. But I'm 20, maybe 19 years old when this happens. And people want to talk about having empathy for other human beings as being showing weakness or being lesser of a person. I will tell that motherfucker to their fucking face that they can eat my whole goddamn ass. You need empathy. Empathy is the only reason I'm even willing to be in the room with a right-wing person. Empathy is the only reason why most of us aren't going out in mass and just capping ICE people. Because we know, in my head, I know what Israel's doing to get the Gaza is horrible. I can hate Israel all day. I can hate them, Benjamin Netanyahu, all day. But when we come to reconciling that problem,
hate is only going to get you so far.
Empathy is the only thing that keeps us from killing every Jew in Israel, because we can't.
And it's important that we use our empathy to delineate.
They are as much a victim of the state as anybody else. And we think through these things. Japan, Stalinist Russia, the UK, the United States, all these places are guilty of extreme high levels of propaganda to diminish the impact that their country's actions or the things that have happened to their country that diminish their power are hidden. Like Stalin threw people in gulags over it. The United States tells people we won World War II. America thinks we're the best. We think we won World War II. You want to know what won World War II? 3 things won World War II. All right. American manufacturing, British intelligence, and Russian lives. That's what won World War
Russian
II.
bodies.
Russian bodies.
Yeah.
The amount of people who died from Russia to fight Germany is amazing. And I say that from not being able to find a better word to describe it, because in my head, it's like, it's atrocious. But
6 million Jews, and then how many million?
20 some million Russians died.
Yeah.
I think it's like 23.6 million.
As they backed off east in World War II, they just threw because that's what they had. They had more people. They had a bigger army. And so they just burned everything down as they retreated, threw bodies at the problem, and forced the Germans to come in and freeze to death in a land war in Russia.
Japan, they tell their people that they never got, like, the start to World War II for Japan was the Doolittle raid, where we sent one bomber into Tokyo to show them that we could reach them. That's when Japan teaches their people when World War II started. Why I'm bringing this whole thing up is because I see more and more footage every day of everyday Israeli citizens, and especially settlers in the West Bank, because they're psychopaths, being programmed so badly by their own people in government that children want to punch Palestinians that they see online, and that Palestinians who try to talk to them about just trying to be a human are met with the barrel of a rifle. If a Christian, right now, the amount of Christian violence in Israel that has been escalating right now is growing and growing every day.
You mean violence against Christians?
Yes, violence against Christians.
If you are if you are a Catholic or a Christian, or
in Israel,
if you are a non-Israeli, non-Jew in Israel, you are potentially subject to a shitload of harassment, a shitload of violence. There are videos, of course,
leading up to murder. By the way,
however, there's stuff. Yeah,
they will kill you.
People on like Omegle who will contact, or they'll meet up with people from Israel, and dude's Palestinian. He's got a watermelon plushy toy behind him. He's wearing a kofiyah, and he's saying, "Hi, where are you from?" "Oh, you're from Israel. I'm from Palestine." And the disgusting things that come out of the mouths of these children can only be rooted through indoctrination.
Yeah.